Talk about ambitious. Dark Edge is a fighting game released by Sega in 1993, despite the title screen saying 1992. When I found out about this game years ago, I was immediately drawn to its presentation, the scaling sprites to stages, and most importantly, the fact that this is a 3D fighting game with 8-way movement. Naturally, I decided to give it a try. And I got destroyed. While Dark Edge does look appealing, the gameplay can be very overwhelming for newcomers. Not just because of the cheap AI, but rather because of everything else. The movement, attack ranges, and trying to perform special moves will take time to get used to. Even when you understand everything, putting it all together consistently can be difficult. The beautiful presentation and the mysterious gameplay puts Dark Edge in a very weird spot. You will either love this game, or you will absolutely hate it. It'll make a bit more sense when I explain the gameplay, so let's start with the controls first. Since this is a 3D fighting game where you can move in 8 directions, there's a button dedicated to jumping. As for the other buttons, you have weak punch, weak kick, strong punch, and strong kick. In Dark Edge, all of the stages are endless, meaning there are no walls whatsoever. This might make it sound like a nightmare to chase a retreating opponent, but thankfully forward movement is much faster than walking backwards. As per usual, weak attacks are fast and strong attacks are slow. Performing jump attacks is self-explanatory, but the way you perform standing and crouching attacks is much different than your average fighting game. To perform a crouching attack, you have to attack without moving at all. To perform a standing attack, you have to be holding any direction while attacking. It sounds simple, but applying this in a match will take some time to get used to. While all normal attacks can be blocked by holding back, crouching attacks can go right under standing attacks. They'll vary depending on the character, as some will have a crouching attack that can be used to hit opponents out of the air. The biggest problem I personally have with normal attacks is trying to figure out the range. They're self-explanatory when facing left or right, but it's difficult to tell how far they go when they're looking up or down. This is on top of the fact that the opponent can block your sprite by going in front of your character. This makes it hard to tell how close you are without moving out of the way. As mentioned before, you can block by holding back. But due to how this game works, there are 8 different directions you can block in. You can usually get away with holding left or right to block, but there are times where you will have to hold down or up instead. Some normal attacks will still deal a bit of damage when blocked, and there are special moves that will do the same. Performing special moves in particular is probably the biggest aspect that can gatekeep a player from improving. While the motions themselves aren't anything out of the ordinary, performing them in this kind of environment makes them way harder than most other fighting games. For example, Thud has a special move that requires a half circle motion along with punch. But again, because this is a 3D fighting game with 8-way movement, there are not 2, not 4, but 6 different ways to perform this. If you're slightly below, then it's a typical half circle forward. If you're slightly above, then the motion is upside down. If you're directly above or below the opponent, the motion is sideways. Now imagine keeping this in mind for every single move in a match where both players are constantly changing positions. As you can well imagine, there are going to be times where your move doesn't come out at all. Now don't get me wrong, this aspect doesn't make the game unplayable, it just makes it much more difficult to master. If you're just starting, my advice is to stay on the left or right side of the screen. It's still possible to perform a move at multiple angles with the same motion, but don't expect it to work all the time. Last but not least, if the opponent is playing too defensively, you can attempt to draw them by pressing forward plus strong punch while close. Draw loops might exist in this game, but from my experience, it seems possible for the opponent to draw you on wake up. Even then, it's not consistent since the characters have different wake up timings. In any case, I'll go over some other aspects in the main mode during the long play. If you want to move, listen more, you can always check the guide in the description below. Alright, and this is my long play of I was about to call this Alien Storm. The Dark Edge for the arcade. Anyways, if the reason why you're looking at a continue screen is because this did take me a few attempts to actually pull off. I did play this game in the past, I did finish it in the past, but I never tried to 1cc it, aka play it without using a continue until I started doing the guide on this game. And from some of the 1ccs I saw in the past, the only ones I saw was with Thud. And I think I also saw one with Genie, if I'm not mistaken. But I've always wanted to do a 1cc playthrough with Blood, and after doing plenty of practice, I managed to pull it off here. So in this video, I am going to go over some other aspects. I am going to talk about like the strategy and all that. And yeah, with that said, let's get straight into it. So this game only has 6 playable characters, which is pretty low. Like, that's not a lot. Like, even for like 1992, 1993 standards. But considering the way these characters look, like just the graphics, all of these, the sprite scaling and all that, like, I think it would be a bit much to expect a much bigger roster. Like, these characters look really rad in this. Like, oh man, this game looks so good. Look at the reflections, man. Oh man. Alright, I gotta get, and if you get off the graphics, I already like talked about that, so I guess I might as well talk about what's going on here. So, in the long play, I was trying really hard to show off all of Blood's moves. I think I already showed a few of them so far. He had the forward back forward, which is when he rolls forward with the spikes out. He also has 2 different poison attacks, which is if he holds back and press forward weight punch, he shoots a purple projectile that goes full screen. If he holds back and press forward heavy punch, I should say strong punch, he shoots like a yellow poison mist that doesn't go as far, but it's very, very active. And the reason why I lost here is because, again, I'm just trying to show off the moves now, because in the first and second match, the CPU isn't too bad. But once it gets to the third match and after, it becomes an absolute pain. Like, that's when I start resorting to like my cheap tactics and strategies, because like, you can't afford to try to have fun with this game. It's just not that kind of game. I should say it's not that kind of AI, especially. So yeah, it's just, in this match, it's just me really like messing around, but I was at half health, so I do want to make sure that I actually win instead of losing trying to like show off everything. But yeah, the other 2 moves that Blood has is he has 2 command grabs. One is forward back heavy punch while close, which is a power driver. I don't know if I'll do it here. That's his regular throw, which is forward and strong punch. And this is me doing a quote-unquote throw loop. But I don't think the CPU really knows how to deal with it. So again, I'm not sure if it's real or not, because I tried doing it in a 2-player match, and it just seems that even though the second player can't really move or jump out of it, or dare I say DP, assuming that's real, it does seem possible for them to throw you back if they time it perfectly. I don't know if it's framed perfect or not, but it is a little strict trying to get out of the throw loop, that's for sure. But it does seem possible in my opinion. I should say from my testing. Okay, so the third stage. This is when the game starts to get really, really cheap. And I'm pretty sure this match was really, really close. really, really cheap, really, really close. But so the main strategy I use with Blood, and this is one you can use for plenty of characters really, is I just keep jumping back, like playing defensive. I didn't even mean to do that move. Again, you could blame the game's like aspects for that, I guess. I don't know. But the strategy you see me use a lot is just constantly jumping back with punch, just jumping punches. And you see me do the poison move, which is you hold back and press forward heavy punch. I guess I should talk about that too. So yeah, it's gonna be really close. There are charge moves in this game where you hold back for like about half a second and then press forward punch, and they're a bit weird to perform because again, if you're on the left or right side of the screen, that's fine. In fact, that's one of the advices I should mention for, actually I mentioned it in the intro I think, but especially for the arcade mode, it would be a bit easier if you just stick to holding left or right to stay on that side, because trying to perform moves otherwise and like different angles can be a little bit frustrating, especially if you don't play this game. So yeah, like charge moves, you just hold back, press forward button after a short while. But again, you can imagine how complicated that can get if like the opponent jumps over you, which is kind of normal. Like there are fighting games where like you're holding back, but like the opponent jumps over you and messes up your charge motion. Maybe if you're lucky, you can get an autocorrect move. But yeah, this is way too close. I'm about to get off topic, but I need to focus. Anyways, my point is, because of this game's like perspective, like the angles, you have to like adjust your charge moves. Like, oh, the opponent moved up, now you might have to hold down plus back, and then press up plus forward to draw out your projectile. And does everyone have a? Yeah, everyone has a projectile with a charge motion, like hold back and then forward button, which is an interesting take, I guess. Like everyone actually has a charge move in this, and all of them are a projectile of some flavor. But yeah, just try to get used to that. Will take some time. So again, if you're just playing this, I just recommend sticking to holding back and pressing a button. And yeah, this is just a strategy I stick with. I do change it up for one match in particular, but I'll wait till we get to it. It's not yet. Fuck round. Anyways, this is Goliath. Same strategy. If you get too far away, he tends to do that move you see where he just like flails his arms around and charges forward. Hopefully, like when he does that, I usually hope that either the jumping punch hits him or the projectile hits him, because again, it's just a mix of jumping back. I usually do about 2 to 3 punches and then I do the charge move just in case. If you immediately hold back after shooting out the projectile, like to get the charge ready, it's possible to do the move again after one jumping punch backwards. But I always do it like 2 to 3 times just in case, just to make sure I have enough charge time to perform the move. Because if you don't hold back enough, then you just get and you press forward and punch, you would just get a punch instead. Unfortunately, I did lose that round, but of course I am going to win the next 2 rounds. And yeah, this is just the kind of AI where you have to be defensive. Like, unless your character has a ridiculous move or something like that, I don't know, something they can't stop, you have to be so defensive of this game. Like, man, it's the worst. Like, there was, again, like, man, I played against so much fighting game AI. I lost count on like the ones where you have to be offensive, the ones where you have to be defensive. But yeah, this is definitely what a defensive game, at least for the character I'm using, because if you try to play offensively, just jumping into them, they're going to anti-air you and like every time. They're going to counter your move with like attack that goes over your low attack. If you try to do a standing attack, they do a crouching attack that goes under. It's really disgusting. Like, it's not fun. It'll make you hate this game, like no joke. Because I did kind of hate this game when I first played it years ago. I didn't like think it was the worst game ever, and in a way I still kind of hate it. Like, I think the gameplay's kind of screwed up, but it does have some really cool aspects, and again, it looks freaking gorgeous, especially for like an early fighting game. I think my personal problem with it is, maybe, you know what, I'll talk about that during the credits. Like, right now I should be talking about like all of the other aspects I haven't like mentioned yet, assuming I have. Alright, M.E.K. So this is the part where, oh, the stage is so freaking good. Alright, let me I'm sorry. Anyways, let me talk about the strategy for facing M.E.K. So this could work as other characters too. The thing with M.E.K is that playing defensively is kind of hard because he has a ton of projectiles, so staying back isn't really ideal. So what I like to do here is do jump attacks around him, and eventually he'll do a move where he jumps up and like shoots like a bunch of projectiles on the ground. And during that animation, first off, you gotta make sure you're out of the way so you don't get hit. And second, you can either counter it with a jump attack, or you might have seen it in the first round earlier where I did Blood's like spinning move. It was forward, back, forward, heavy punch. Well, specifically strong punch, because the weak punch version doesn't go as far. So you can see that in this round I am using jump attacks to counter it. And yeah, this is just a strat for the M.E.K fight. There's no reason to do anything else unless it's safer. But this is the safest strat I found with Blood, at least. Also, I should mention, I mean, this was the case for Holocene as well. On both games, I did play them on level 4, the default difficulty. I was, as crazy as this sounds, I was tempted. I might win by time over here. Yeah. So, as crazy as this sounds, I was tempted to play this on level 8, aka the max difficulty. I don't know why. I mean, I usually try to play on the highest difficulties for these fighting games. But the reason why I decided on level 4 for both of the... Wow, I did a lot of damage. But the reason why I decided on level 4, the default difficulty for both games, is because I'd love to believe that arcade owners aren't cruel, like they aren't mean enough to put it on level 8. And the majority of... Oh, there's a command grab. That was a full circle forward with a heavy punch. So, yeah, there's no way an arcade owner would be mean enough to put it on level 8, I'd love to believe. Especially since the game is already pretty hard on level 4, unless you already know what to do. So I decided on level 4 because, in my opinion, that's going to be the majority of everyone's experience. You know, just turn the game, or you know, play the quarter. You know, someone's on the default difficulty, and then they get to level 2 or 3 and they get bodied. So yeah, I decided to just leave the difficulty on level 4. And as you can see here, even with the strategy I'm using, it's still like not an easy game. Like I lost the first round, and here I am trying to beat, like, just catch up pretty much. But so far it's going well. Yeah, there we go. Beautiful. Yeah, that's okay. That's another thing I should mention too. The order you face the characters in are random, which makes it really hard to like make a guide, like give a strategy on each character, because your experience is gonna be different than mine. Like maybe you would get this character on stage 1, and maybe I got this character on like stage 5, where they're way harder to deal with. So like it's kind of hard to like make a guide on this, like just explain how to beat the AI. So I kind of just decided on like, okay, I'll try to think of just one specific strategy that can work against most, if not all of them, and that's pretty much what you're seeing here. It's just me jumping back with the poison mist. And the only thing that isn't random is that the 6th opponent is always your character. It's always a mirror match, no matter what. So at least that's consistent, but other than that, the order is random. I got really lucky there. Anyways, we're already up to the end of the game. It's time for the boss battle.
You must die.
Alright, now you're gonna love this. Check this out. Freaking, oh, there goes the bitrate. Freaking Space Harrier, dude. This is the best, man. I remember when I first saw this, I was like, yo, this game's good all of a sudden. Like, it's so freaking, unfortunately it's the only bonus game, but it's so freaking cool, dude. I should be playing Space Harrier right now, but it's whatever. Anyway, during that bonus game, you just shoot all the enemies, and there's actually some enemies on the top and the background you can shoot. So because of that alone, I wasn't able to, like, I never got all of the hits in the bonus stage. It's pretty difficult to do, but I assume it's possible. Anyways, here's the boss, which is Ram X. So there is a strategy, and it's pretty simple. You want to keep circling around this boss, and you see him fly around like that. And after you dodge 4 missiles, he would charge forward. And once he does, you have to time your counter attack by stop the charge. So the way I do it is I go around him, dodge the 4 missiles. Like once I hear the engine sound, that's when I press heavy punch. But I specifically do stand heavy punch, which again, standing attacks are done by pressing a button while moving. If you're not moving, you would get a crouching attack instead. Crouching heavy punch can, I keep trying to get heavy punch. It's technically strong punch, but crouching strong punch can also work here since it has a good amount of range. But I decided to keep it consistent with standing heavy strong punch. So it's a bit more consistent for me, at least, compared to doing the crouching version. And yeah, this works for plenty of characters. Some characters might actually have an easier time by just doing an instant jump attack when Ram X flies towards you. But yeah, as long as you can keep that pattern going, you're good to go. Now for the final boss. As every other character, he's not too bad, since he can just move to one side, shoot a projectile, move to the other side, shoot a projectile. But because I'm using this character, I have to do this. I have to get behind his sprite and do down, up, down, heavy punch. So you never want to be in one spot for too long, because the boss will constantly shoot projectiles and missiles everywhere. So you want to keep moving around, and then once you get the opportunity, you want to do the move. So this is me trying to do down, forward, down, punch. But because I missed the input there, I just said screw it, let me just move around to dodge the attacks first and reposition. So if you do mess up the motion, reposition first so that you don't get blasted for free. So I just gotta do it one more time, I think. Okay, just need it one more time, I guess. It should be right here. Beautiful. And thankfully for the final boss, you only need to beat him once, guys. He actually has to beat you in 2 rounds. Anyways, here's the ending. Blood, the biomonster, was invented by the evil ruler. At last, his soul is liberated. Since then, no one knows of his fate. I mean, this character is so freaking cool, dude. And yeah, that's it. You just get the credits of your character facing yourself, pretty much. And yeah, that's Dark Edge. Man. So in the game facts guide, I wrote that, like, you know, I love the presentation and all that. I didn't even get to talk about the music too. But, there's so much I love about this game, but the gameplay's kind of atrocious. And I still stand by that. Not in the fact that like you can't pick up and play it. You can still like play this game and have a fun time with friends. I think playing this against the CPU is absolutely insufferable, especially since it's an arcade game by nature. And the fighting game arcade fighting games tend to cheat anyways, like the input reading and all that. But yeah, if you have a friend, I'd say play it, like just try it. But the reason why I think the gameplay is still kind of bad is only because it's just really difficult to master. Like, I like games where I can get better and better at it, but it feels like to get really good at this game is incredibly frustrating, but I still enjoy it for what it is, and I still like it a lot. In any case, I hope you enjoyed this long play. However you feel about this game, it's fine. Like, if you like this game, cool, and if you hate this game, I completely understand why. But yeah, with that said, I'll see you later.